Hello and welcome to another edition of Miike Monday with me, the Art Critic, where on Monday I look at the works of one of my favourite directors, Takashi Miike. And today I'll be looking at the 2005 children's fantasy film, The Great Yokai War. The film follows young boy Tadashi Uno, who has become chosen as the Kirin Rider, a hero that must save the yokai and humanity from the evil Yasunori Kato. It's quite a typical chosen one must stop evil story, which doesn't really bring anything new to the table. But the drama works well enough, and it does still have a couple of surprises, including its fun ending. And I think the film overall itself is pretty fun too. It's got a bit of charm to it and quite a playful tone with a nice amount of humour, albeit a bit silly, and even a couple of horror elements that are probably going to creep the kids out. Now this film is filled with all kinds of different yokai, and for those unaware, yokai are basically supernatural monsters, spirits and demons from Japanese folklore. And there's actually a popular trilogy of films from the 60s called Yokai Monsters, focused all around them. And this film is considered somewhat a loose retelling of the second film, Spook Warfare, whose Japanese title, Yokai Densonsu, also means the Great Yokai War. So like those films, they pack this out with all kinds of yokai monsters presented in various ways, sometimes only for really brief moments, through a mix of CGI, practical effects, costumes and makeup. We've got a load of interesting designs on the go, and although some of it may look a little cheap, I think it always stays visually interesting and is one of the coolest things about this film. Now this is very heavy on the CGI at times, and it is quite cartoony and cheap looking, with some very dodgy moments, especially in some of the action. But I think it mostly works okay and doesn't really detract that much from the viewing experience. Though I do know quite a few people it's probably going to bother a lot more. So I would be cautious going in to watch this, especially if you really can't stand lower grade CGI. Although it's no different to most of the CGI you see in Japanese films anyway, so it's all down to if you're used to it or not. One interesting thing to note is that the antagonist, Yasunori Kato, isn't actually a yokai, but instead he's the main Japanese character from the historical fantasy series Taito Monogatari. Now I'm not sure how much of his character here is like how he is in that series, but I think it was pretty interesting to include someone that among all the yokai monsters. And he is played by veteran actor Etsushi Toyokawa, who plays him like your typical stern and emotionless cold villain. And he has a partner named Agi, who is played by Chiaki Kuriyama, who is of course most well known for films like Battle Royale and Kill Bill, and she does pretty good herself, really nailing those sinister eye glares. And I think the rest of the acting is fine too. The main kid is actually played by Rinosuke Kamiki, who has grown up to have quite a successful career, including being in films like the Rurouni Kenshin sequels and Bakuman, as well as voicing the lead role in critically acclaimed anime Your Name. And the rest of the cast includes the likes of Hiroyuki Miyasako, Sadao Abe, Bunta Sugawara, and even yokai cameos by actors like Naoto Takanaka and Kenichi Endo. Now the film does run over 2 hours at about 124 minutes, and you definitely do feel the length, I think, a bit. So I think it could have been shortened or at least paced a little better. But despite that and its generic story, I think there is enough here for someone to enjoy, including its array of yokai monsters seen throughout, some good jokes, and like I said, a very fun ending. So yeah, if you're just looking for a bit of children's fantasy fluff, then this could be worth checking out, as long as you don't mind a bit of dated CGI. I'd give it 3 hearts out of 5. Nothing great, but certainly an entertaining and quite well made fantasy flick. Thank you for watching. I am the Heart Critic. This has been my heartfelt opinion, and I shall see you next time.